What's up guys, Matt Prince from Royal Fitness. Now in today's episode I want to show you how to fix your shitty hips. What we're going to go into, there's three things that usually happen that's very, very common in a lot of our athletes, but a lot of our just general population too. A lot of people that are working 9 to 5 jobs, they might be office workers, they might even be tradies, and they're driving say 3 or 4 hours a day to job sites, in between job sites, sitting down at Smoko, whatever. A lot of these people, right, we think about how much we sit during the day and we're like, oh, that's not good. So we'll train, for an hour a day or an hour every second day to try and counteract that. It doesn't necessarily work that way. We're still going to be tight, okay, especially if you're in that seated position a lot. Now, there is the other side of it too. Once we're home, we're sitting on couches, we're sitting, in weird positions on, whether it's sitting on the couch, on the floor, with your kids playing like this. I know I've been sitting down a lot more in weird spots since I've had my little boy, and what I'm finding is I've had a few back problems since then. Like my hips just don't feel good and my back feels a lot tighter for it. And I pinged my back the other week, so I thought I'd try and shoot a video so you don't ping yours, right? One of the things you got to consider, right, when you're in the seated position, the reason it's a problem is because your hip flexors and all of the muscles in here are shortened, right? It's not just your hip flexors, there's a lot of other stuff in there, but it's in a shortened position. So it's going to get tighter and tighter. What happens then, which is no good, is these hip flexors tighten up and they pull you forward, right? But we don't like walking around like a hunchback. We don't like being in that position. So we'll sort of do this, which means that your hips are tilted or your pelvis is tilted, okay? So you're ending up in this position here where you want to be all neutral. So there's basically two pieces that I'm going to show you right now. One is to release your hips, to stretch your hips. So we'll look at the hip flexors, I suppose. And then we're going to look at the glutes as well, because the glutes as well, if they're super tight, there's a problem just as bad. So first thing I want to get you to do, we'll start with the glutes because it's probably the least painful one. But you're going to get a ball. It can be a cricket ball, it can be a lacrosse ball like this one, massage ball or whatever. But I like to cross my leg up like so on the side that I want to roll. So I'll just show you on the right side. Basically, I'm supporting my weight with my hand and I'm going to roll around. I'm going to start by, finding some hot spots, and that's quite nasty in there for me. Like I said, I've had some problems in these. I'm going to sit there and I'm basically rocking side to side, squeeze my bum really hard, release and go back in so it goes a little bit deeper. I'll sit here, generally I'll sit here for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then I'll start moving my leg in and around, right? And finding different spots. So there's another spot in there. I'm going to find my spot. I'm going to move my leg around. I'm going to cycle through, grinding nice and hard, come over to the side, come in, get that leg back up, just play around in there and find all the hot spots and try and roll them out, right? What I'm going to get you guys to do is roll out for about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how long you sort of need. It might even be a bit longer. It might be a minute and a half. And then instantly go back into a glute stretch on that same side. So just roll the one butt cheek to start with and then go into a glute stretch. So I like to go over my shin here and pull. And I'll flex my toe here just to make that glute, feel it a little bit more. If you relax your foot, it's a different kind of stretch. When it's pulled in, it's a little tighter. Okay, so I'll be in here, I'll start to push that knee out, opening up all that glute, stretching it out. You might start to pull in here, really get a good deep stretch there. You may even just flow over then into one of these sorts of stretches where it's like legs here, again, flex your foot up, reach out to the side, you're getting some good deep stretching through that glute. Okay, so again, about a minute and a half-ish, rolling out, finding different hot spots, and then about a minute and a half of stretching. And that'll take care of the glutes. And you have to do each side, so it'll take, it could take up to, 6 minutes to hit the glutes. Next thing, hip flexor. So let's remove this microphone, I'll get this out of the way. What we're going to do is we're going to get that trusty ball. And if you've got a kettlebell, that'd be great. If not, you can, use something else heavy to place on it. That's all it's about. It's just about the pressure here. I'm going to put the ball onto my hip flexor. All right, and what I'm going to do from here, right now, that's quite nasty. I'm going to straighten my leg out, roll it around, find some hot spots, grind in there. I'm going to move my leg up, find some more spots, roll it down, find some other spots. Basically, I'm just playing around. Same with my glutes. I'm pushing into the muscles that join in that hip area. And you can work it sort of from, here up to here, but you're just playing around. That kettlebell sort of pushes there and you can roll that around. Again, about a minute and a half each side. And then you're going to go straight into the hip flexor stretch. Tuck your hips under. So you're going to roll your pelvis forward. Drive forward with the hips. Get a good stretch through there. And keep your core tight. Don't sort of arch back. But from here, just pushing in. All right, so you're keeping all that nice and tight. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Hold it for about 20, 30 seconds. If you want a little bit more, make it a bit more spicy. Grab the foot. Core tight. Still keeping that tight. Now you get a bit of quad as well, which, you know, was my biggest problem with it. My quad and the hips, it sort of all connects, like it sort of passes through each other. So one was tight and the other's generally tight as well for a lot of people. So I'll be pushing back and forth here. Okay, so those four things, those four pieces, roll or smash, you could call it, straight into a stretch. And I do both glute stretches. I find they both work slightly differently. One's a bit more like piriformis, which is like one of the rotators in your glutes. So if you think about it, like a little small one, that's what the one where my leg's on the floor. The other one will be a little bit more of the meat of the glute, I suppose. And then the ball in there, releasing throughout there, just playing around. And you can do different ball stuff, like you can lay on the side and have a play, but that's depending on where you feel it. So you have to play with it a little bit. But if you haven't tried the kettlebell on it, try that. Find your spot and then do those two hip stretches. Get your normal hip flexor stretch first and then bring that quad involved by pulling your foot up as well. If you can do those on each side, what you'll find is your hips just start to release. They will start to free up, which is one of the biggest, like for a lot of the masseuses and osteos and stuff that I talk to, the back generally is caused from the hip complex in some way, right? And it's usually a tightness thing or an instability thing or a weakness thing, and they all sort of matter, right? We're talking about tightness right now because of the whole sitting down in especially last year with what went down with everyone's, you know, working from home or staying at home more. Everybody sort of seized up a lot because they weren't training as much, they weren't moving as much, we're locked inside basically. So things are going to stiffen up, right? And then you look at the other side as like, hey, this is what we need to do. We'll get this stretching out, and then if you fix that and you start to get better movement, then you can increase that movement in your training so you can start working on things like, you know, better core control, better core stability. It might be back strength, glute strength, hip flexor strength, all of those things, and you can start to build a holistic plan from there. So guys, start with the stretches, get loose, because I'm assuming a lot of people that are watching this video are tight, and I hope it helps, but this has helped me a lot. This has helped a lot of people in the gym a lot. We'll call the video the shitty office hips fix, and we'll see if that helps anybody. But guys, if you need any help with your training, feel free to click any of the links below to get involved. We have trial offers and stuff like that going on, so you can get involved and, you know, risk-free for you, and we'll basically take you under our wing and teach you everything we know as fast as possible. So guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. Take care. Bye.